behind a local restaurant, Thai food place. It's excellent. And we found one of their drums, and we wanted to see if it's good fuel quality. If I had a vegetable oil vehicle, I'd want to pull up behind this place and collect this potentially and filter it and use it as fuel. It's free of water and debris. We can filter out a little bit of debris, but we don't want water. So on the top of the barrel we're seeing some water. So it looks like it's rained recently, and the question is whether or not they've left this lid on most of the time when it's rained. This is water, you can see it's kind of light, creamy. There's some oil floating around on it, but basically if this is what it looks like inside there, we know we found a bad batch. Alright, so far the coloration looks pretty good. It looks kind of to be a rich color. There is some stuff floating on the top, but you know what? That could be very easily filtered out with a mesh screen or something like that. So we're not too worried about things floating in there. But we don't see any of this creamy liquid. That means that this is pretty free of water. Now, there is possibility that there's water, but it's settled to the bottom of the barrel at this point. And when you collect vegetable oil, you only collect off the top of the barrel until you find a settle line, and that's when you stop collecting. So here's the real test, is the clarity. You just get something like a stick, kind of just stir it around. Okay, look, we can see a reflection of the trees above us and the sky above us. That means it's pretty good stuff. There may be deceiving, there may be some water in it, so we're going to kind of look at clarity. What we do is lift it up and look in the light, and that looks so clear. That looks like it just came right out of a bottle. And so it's very golden. There's no particles really floating in it. It's just this amber color. There's no creaminess to it. So that's a great sample of oil. And I would say that at least half of this barrel has that much oil in it. And again, we would suck from the top and just go down until maybe I get a longer stick at a time and put it down and see look, there's so much oil here. So this is a good supply. I would say that here's a good 50 gallons, and depending upon your fuel mileage, this could keep you going for an entire month. If you have a little Volkswagen, Mercedes, something like that, 1 5-hour adventure for the first timer on the weekend. Collecting this stuff, filtering it, mining it, etc. You can collect enough fuel for a month or two in just one weekend day's work. So you talk to the owner and you ask if it's alright to collect some of the fuel, and that's usually pretty easy. They're usually happy to let it go. Some of them have to pay to have it removed, or they don't mind using it. So before we ask for the fuel, we actually want to find out if it's good enough quality to warrant the conversation. So let's take a peek. This is a massive container. It probably holds around 260 gallons when it's full. You can see that this place is a fish frying place. So it really depends. It's like a restaurant, so we think that the oil might be pretty good, and it seems like that's correct. If you peer in here, you can see there's not too much oil, but there's a reflective surface across the top, and I can tell it's not creamy. And there is some breading floating in there, but it doesn't seem to be thick at all. So it looks like, although there's only probably 20 or 30 gallons in this container, it's a pretty good fuel source. And it would be easy to tell where the oil stopped and the sediment began, and you can stop filtering at that time. But it looks pretty free of water. These are pretty sturdy containers that keep the water out pretty well, and it seems like a pretty clean establishment. It's kind of like a more popular, like family restaurant, fast food type of chain. And typically I wanted to show a bad example of fuel, but this actually looks like it might be all right. There's a lot of crud here on the top here. There's a lot of sediment, so you can imagine that's what's underneath all this oil. But this oil looks pretty reflective. It's got sort of a caramel color. There's a lot of bubbles that may indicate there may be some type of water or something in there, or just motion. So these things settle differently. You really just have to check it out. So my next step here would be to put a stick in there and swirl it around, and even determine if this was worth it, because there probably only seems to be about 20 or 30 gallons of good fuel. There's a pretty good amount of oil in here, and it's kind of cloudy on the top, but it looks like that's just a quality of the oil. It is getting a little bit cooler, so it's kind of looks like it's settling, but it doesn't look to be too much sediment. The only thing with this one is there's not too much oil in here, so you might want to look for a better source. Right here. Now, one thing is we got the lid off, so if the lid's been off for a while, there might be a ton of water and stuff in here, but it looks like it just came off today. This is the clearest oil you'll see. You can see the sky's reflection. If it was a sunnier day, we'd be able to see it even brighter. And we just stir it right there. And I can push it all the way down. I feel that there's only sediment at the very bottom. So this is all clean oil. Just look at that. So that would require minimal filtration. And you'd be on your way with some free fuel.